Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to see you again. Today, I want to try out this recipe for rhubarb crumble bars. Now, I have all of the ingredients except for the rhubarb. Well, I have green rhubarb in my garden, but I want red rhubarb. So let's head to a local market to see if we can find the ruby red variety.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain. Beauty in the...
We are at Golden Harvest Farm. Sadly, there's no truly red rhubarb here, but I did find cider donuts. Yum!
And now
Next stop is Semascot Garden Market. Success! The market had thin, tender stems of ruby red rhubarb. These will be perfect for today's recipe. We are home again, and I was very lucky to find this perfectly delicious rhubarb. Now again, I have rhubarb in my garden, but it is a green variety. The red variety is so much prettier in desserts. So I found ruby red rhubarb, and the stems are young and tender and definitely red. So let's get ready to make our rhubarb crumble bars. First, preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. And then grease an 8x8 square pan and line it with parchment. You want the parchment to overhang by about 2 inches. This will make the bars easy to unmold. I'm also going to grease the paper lightly. We need to start with the streusel topping. So I have 6 tablespoons or 85 grams of melted butter here. And to the butter, I'm adding 1 cup or 130 grams of regular all-purpose flour and a half cup or about 107 grams of packed brown sugar. We also need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now in the directions, it says to whisk together these ingredients, but first I want to break up the brown sugar. I know it will not whisk easily. Actually, I did not need my whisk at all. This mixing fork did a great job. So this is what we have. It's a very crumbly streusel topping. And then we can pop this into the refrigerator while we go about mixing the cake batter. For the cake batter, I'm going to need a ½ pound of rhubarb. I'm going to trim off the ends. And I did wash this rhubarb. The directions say to cut the rhubarb into ½ inch pieces. I love the scent of rhubarb. To me, it's like the scent of spring. And to the rhubarb, I want to add some orange zest. So I'm deviating from the recipe just a little, but I do know that rhubarb and orange go very well together. So this will be just another layer of flavor. And to this rhubarb and orange mixture, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of packed brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. So I have 1 cup or 130 grams of flour here. Just going to steal some of this flour. because we will need 3/4 of a cup of flour for the actual cake batter. And then we just toss these together. In another bowl, we have to whisk together 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. Per my scale, 3/4 cup of flour is 100 grams, and my scale is accurate. And the 1/4 cup of flour that we added to the rhubarb mixture is 33 grams. Now, to this bowl, I need to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And whisk. Now for beating the batter, you could use a stand mixer or a large bowl and handheld electric beaters. I'm going to use my stand mixer. And in the bowl of the stand mixer, I'm going to beat together a 1/2 cup or 114 grams of softened butter and 1 cup or about 114 grams of confectioner's sugar. We need to beat this until the mixture turns light and fluffy. We are light and fluffy, so now I'm going to beat in 2 large eggs, one at a time. With the mixer running at low speed, I'm going to beat in a 1/2 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. This is the extract that you and I made together. Then we can beat in the flour mixture. This is a nice little cake batter. I just need to fold in some of the confectioner's sugar that did not get incorporated very well. And here we are. Then we can transfer the batter to the prepared cake pan. So these rhubarb crumble bars have a cakey bottom, a fruity middle, actually a vegetable middle. Rhubarb is a vegetable, and a streusel topping. Smooth this out. Now we can sprinkle on the rhubarb. Then we need the streusel, which I put in the refrigerator. The streusel really firmed up in the refrigerator. I'm just breaking it up again. And on it goes. This is an unusual streusel in that the butter was melted. Normally, when I make streusel, I use cold butter and I just mash it into the flour and brown sugar. But we will see how this works out. And of course, I will post the recipe I'm following in the description below. And the directions say, bake cake until golden and a toothpick inserted in center comes out with moist crumbs attached, 45 to 50 minutes. While the cake is baking, I'm going to do a little light dusting in the music room. little light dusting, some light practicing, and I think our cake is done. So a few little crumbs stuck to the wooden skewer when I tested the cake, and that's what the recipe writer said we want. I'm going to let this cake cool in the pan for a few minutes, then we can unmold it onto the cooling rack. Meantime, let's brew some tea and set the table. I think this orange spice tea from Tierra Farm will go very well with the Rhubarb Crumble Bars. This is the tea that you and I bought together, and I will put a link for a free shipping code in the description below. I've already warmed the teapot, meaning that I have poured boiling water into it and then emptied it out. And while the tea is steeping, we can head outside to set the table. I can't wait to try this Rhubarb Crumble Bar. You could eat this out of hand, but I'm going to use a fork. All right, this is definitely delicious and definitely worth making, but I think it could use more rhubarb for the amount of cake and the amount of streusel. So the recipe writer said a half pound of rhubarb, I would say maybe 3/4 of a pound of rhubarb. And I do like the orange zest in the batter. Another bite. Thank you so much for spending time with me today as we shopped and we baked and we dusted and we practiced and we got to enjoy some afternoon tea together. And please stay tuned for our next video, which I think will be released on Sunday. We're going to do a make-ahead Father's Day brunch. Or maybe it will be a dinner. No, probably a brunch, and I hope you will watch. If you enjoyed today's video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And I can put a couple of my other videos at the end of this one that you can enjoy between now and the next upload. Until then, treat yourself very well. Try this Rhubarb Crumble Bar, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, friends.